Good morning, everyone. This is John for MTG Nexus with some more Lurrus Jund. This is still Dylan Hovey's original list. I think we played 4 matches so far, 2 in this league. We're currently 1-1 in the league. We lost to Jund Shadow, and we beat Teamer Song of Creation Urza. It's basically an Urza deck, removing the counter spells, slamming in Song of Creation, and the new legend for green and blue that makes non-land permanents tap for more mana. So that was an interesting kind of grindy battle there. So format obviously being shaken up a lot by Lurrus at the Dream Den as kind of results have come in. There's been quite a few burn decks that have done well with it. There's been devoted druid decks, etc. And as always, the Magic community is going, we need to ban something, we need to ban something. Wait and see, people. Anywho, so Lurrus of the Dream Den Jund. The one deck constraint, obviously, is you have to have all permanents in your deck converted mana cost 2 or less, which means no Liliana of the Veil, no Bloodbraid Elf, no Tireless Tracker, etc. So, I totally agree this morning, Space Marine. I think certain people forget that certain decks kind of already have something on the power level of companions. I think a lot of the decks are using... well, if you look really closely, and like I said, results kind of vary. Is Lurrus very powerful? Absolutely. Does Lurrus push people to play the most powerful 2-drops there is? Absolutely. Does it offer certain decks a new angle of attack and a little bit more ability to grind in some matchups? Absolutely. Is it unbeatable? No. Lurrus has a weakness, Graveyard Hate. Otherwise it's a vanilla 3/2 with lifelink for 3 mana. And you're giving up a sideboard slot. You know, honestly, I think, honestly, if Wizards wanted to shut everybody up, especially since I think they're probably going to include more companions moving forward, which I'm fine with. It increases the design space of the game. It makes the game a little bit more interesting. I think the compromise you could come to is that a companion costs you 2 sideboard slots. I think that's a fair punishment for the ability to use a powerful guaranteed effect. You're limiting your deck construction, you lose 2 sideboard slots. I think that should shut everybody up, personally. But, you know, Magic players are Magic players. They're going to bitch and whine because their favorite deck isn't the best in the format. Anyways, back on to Lurrus Jund. A couple of things I noted in the previous video is the deck is a little bit more vulnerable to Graveyard Hate. You're using things like Kolaghan's Command, Tarmogoyf, Kroxa, so your only threat that isn't vulnerable to Graveyard Hate is Dark Confidant. Beyond that, you have your typical Inquisition Thoughtseize package, as well as Lightning Bolt Fatal Push. I think this deck is a little too skewed towards smaller creatures, with only really a Fatal Push, a couple trophies, and a Kolaghan's or a Maelstrom Pulse to deal with bigger creatures. I think you're probably going to want to up the count on Fatal Pushes a little bit. Nihil Spellbomb is a fine inclusion in some spots. It's kind of a card recursion engine with Lurrus. Kind of costs you 5 mana to draw a card in addition to the Mishra's Baubles. Being able to draw you cards. 22 lands, while it does feel a little bit low, you're a lot lower curve than your typical Jund case. And then beyond that, you know, basically you're playing a little bit more aggressive, lower to the ground version of Jund. Sideboard, a lot of the same things you would expect to see out of regular Jund, except you're free rolling things like Engineer Explosives and such that you're able to recur with Lurrus. 3 Collective Brutality, kind of a necessary evil with Burn floating around as strong as it is right now. Goblin Creditor Maker, pretty good inclusion against especially Eldrazi-tron, pretty nice thing to be able to do. 2 copies of Veil of Summer, because, you know, why not play every broken card you can get your hands on. And then 3 copies of Pillage when you still need some LT against those stubborn Tron players and blue-white control, etc. that are still out there doing things overall. Well, the thing you also got to remember, Space Marine, is, and I think we saw this in our video a little bit, is Lurrus makes 1-for-1 removal grind you into the dust a lot harder. And because if you know, we lost at least one of those games that we lost to Hardened Scales last video was because our opponent went Lurrus into recurring not Walking Ballista, Hangerback Walker, and then against the Jund Death Shadow opponent, because our opponent went Lurrus into Death Shadow, that we had just had to kill with an engineered explosives. So, we're on the draw, right? I think on the draw I'm perfectly fine keeping a double Inquisition Fatal Push hand with a Tarmogoyf kicker. Well, the thing is, a good player with Lurrus is going to be able to get some value out of Lurrus right away. In a lot of spots, Lurrus gets played after everybody's out of resources. Hey, Half-True, thanks for the follow. How are you this morning? Alright, so everybody is losing their freaking mind over everything. It gets ridiculous. Like, let the results come in for a week or two before you're like, oh my god, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. It's like, no, really, let things play out. So it looks like we're up against probably bigger version of Jund. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, so they rip another, sure. Probably just take our Inquisition or a Fatal Push. Yeah, see, there are certain things that just like push design space. And I think people are freaking out because it's like, oh my god, Planeswalkers broke the 4-nut. Oh my god, blah blah blah. So should I fire off Inquisition here? We might not actually even get anything for it. I think I'm going to wait till I... this could be wrong. I'm supposed to Inquisition for like Liliana or something here, but I think I'm just going to sit on Inquisition until I have another threat to play. I think because we have a second Spell Bomb, I'm going to go ahead and cash this one in just to get some more resources. See, now this is where things get a little awkward. This is where I cast the Inquisition. I want to clear the way for Bob as much as possible. They're going to bolt me, which is fine-ish. See, that Inquisition earlier wouldn't have accomplished much. They're drawing another land, so we get to land a Bob that hopefully gets to go to town for a little while. See, and I have no... I think a lot of people are frustrated because like, it's possible I should have fetched a basic or something here to save a little bit of life. Like, I think people are frustrated because their favorite decks are suddenly under siege again. And I think a couple of things have changed in the course of Magic as a whole. And I think it really annoys Magic players. First off, people are much more willing to pick up random decks. Like, there used to be a unwillingness to adopt this is kind of an awkward spot. Because, like, if we trophy the ooze here, then they can crack us with Ravine. This is where the removal suite in this deck is, like, a little lacking, I think. Still think I'm supposed to make the play, but it does make us considerably weaker here. They're smart. They eat one of the Nihil spell bombs. No. Yep. But we obviously still have Lurrus plus Nihil Spellbomb, and well, I think the frustrating part for a lot of people is, as I was kind of going off on a tangent here before kind of getting to a thought process turn here, is I think a lot of people are used to the concept of their favorite deck's going to be good no matter what, and it's like, no, not always. And people also are more willing, a lot of the top grinders are willing to pick up the so-called flavor of the week. And they're more willing to play they're far more willing to play aggressive decks than used to be. Like, there used to be a huge taboo on playing red decks, and now people will pick up red decks if they feel it is the best deck in the situation. Obviously, presuming we have Ren and 6 in our 75 somewhere. I actually screwed up. I should have left a green source untapped to be able to cast this Tarmogoyf. So that is on me. I actually have nothing left in my deck that can answer this Raging Ravine too. just to bring this back. Oopsied. Of all the dumb things that allowed us to kind of end the game. Well, most likely end the game anyway. So how confident am I that I end the game next turn? Pretty confident. But am I dark confident? I know, terrible pun. Womp womp. Sure. Fatal push. So we're up against more traditional Jund, eh? Certainly a lot of cards we can consider. Maelstrom Pulse seems okay. Engineered Explosive seems reasonable. Could bring in another copy of Nihil Spellbomb. Could bring in Pillages. Definitely want to bring in Veil of Summer. No, actually, that was actually a really good back and forth game. But that also showed like the power of Lurrus in the mid to late game. Our opponent lost because they punted. They attacked into my Goyf, not realizing that there was no land in the graveyard. That was the only reason we won that game. We didn't win the game really because of Lurrus. We won simply because our opponent screwed up. Their last resource was a Raging Ravine. Our last resource outside of Lurrus was a Tarmogoyf. And affectionately made our Tarmogoyf big enough to kill the Raging Ravine. We literally did not have another way to kill it in our deck with one card. We had no more Assassin's Trophies. We only had one Fatal Push. That was already in the graveyard. Seal of Fire is kind of nonsense in this matchup. Lightning Bolts aren't great. They're okay against, like, Bloodbraid Elf. Probably want some amount of discard. As to how many, I don't know. Probably can shave at least a Thoughtseize. Kolaghan's Command's probably good, but I probably want to shave one just because our opponent's probably bringing in randomness. I probably want a Pillage or two to be able to answer Raging Ravines, but I don't know. We'll just go with what we got. Sounds pretty good. Regardless of what gets taken, we have a discard spell on one. So the one thing to note about our particular build is we are a little bit more aggressively slanted and a little bit less. That's a hand. Wonder why they didn't play Nihil Spellbound out on one. Feels like a bit of a punt. Well, since we don't have answers to their creatures, I think I'm just going to take Goyf. And then next turn, take Plague Engineer. Alright, so they have like a bunch of answers in their hand, which is fine. I'm just supposed to Thoughtseize their Plague Engineer here. Like, the annoying thing for us is, like, we have, like, 3 cards in our hand that their 3 answers can kill. Yeah, they're getting antsy with a Spell Bomb. Nice thing about Goyf, oh, please don't tell me you ripped a Liliana. Croxus. That could be a problem. Maybe that was the reason to bring in more Spell Bombs. Yeah, now they get to bring back Croxus. I think here we pitch the black cleave. Gotta hope to rip a removal spell here. A removal spell, but not necessarily that one. Alright, because I can play out blockers, but then they just die to their removal spells. Alright, a little bit of bias there, bringing the third Nihil Spellbomb, that way we don't repeat that problem again. I think the rest of the deck is fine. Excuse me for the belch there. Alright, prompt play. And seems reasonable. Question is, what lands are we leading off on here? Return 6, Liana, Clothis, Fatal Push. That's a rough one. Fatal Push, Clothis, Liana, round 6. Like, all these cards are incredibly hard to beat in a long game. Fatal Push might be completely the wrong card to take here, but I really kind of need to push the damage a little bit here. I honestly think we're really far behind this game, and I think this game is a perfect example of how Lurrus restricts your deck building, and regular Jund's top end's a little bit better than ours, especially without Fully expect to get Liliana here. So our opponent has Renin 6, Clothis, and 2 unknowns. I think I just hold a Fatal Push this turn. Next turn I can go Lurrus into Tarmogoyf. Okay, so I thought we knew about the Bloodstained Mire. Yeah, we'll be playing Lurrus next turn. I wasn't going to play it this turn for absolutely no value. Plus, it allows us to hold a Fatal Push this turn, so... We know 2 of the cards in hand are currently Clothis and a... So we can set up for Croxa. This allows us to rip... It's kind of awkward because, like... Let's say a Plague Engineer, wonderful. I could have gotten the Bobble out of the graveyard. That's, yeah, that was kind of stupid on my part. Well, at least they can't flash it back next turn. That's a positive. Trophy's nice. That allows us to deal with potentially Renin 6. Oh, they're just going to Plague Engineer it down. Cool. And we're going to lose our Assassin's Trophy. Okay. Guess I should have played the Spell Bomb last turn instead of... One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. That requires 5 cards, right? Plague Marine? You mean Plague Engineer? Oh, that's rough. Now they get to bring back their Oh, that was a good rip. So annoying. They likewise had a Maelstrom Pulse in hand. It was definitely an intense game. It's pretty clear the last card in their hand's not a removal spell. Alright. Yeah, but their Plague Engineer buys them potentially an extra turn to rip a Liliana or something. I think we are the superior Croxa deck. I think they are the better power deck overall. So what kills us? Exactly Bolt? Oh, they lost connection. Okay. This does make an interesting decision. Are we supposed to block this Plague Engineer and die to exactly Bolt? Or do we think they have something like Kolagon's Command or Scavenging Ooze? I think I'm willing to gamble on them not having Bolt. Because they could have another chump blocker. They could have... There's many things they could have here that aren't Lightning Bolt. And I think I'm willing to gamble on them not having left Lightning Bolt in their deck. They could also be trying to fill the graveyard for Kroxa too. But it would be kind of hard with the cards they currently have available. I'm going to risk it. If they have Bolt, then I'm dead. Okay, so they have Bolt. Trophy. Go and leave Tarmogoyf from the graveyard in case we rip a Kolaghan's Command. I want to do that right away just so they don't have a graveyard. That, and they could have had so many other cards to... See, now this block I actually have to make because a lot of other things kill us at that point. Kolaghan's Command, etc., etc. And now we die to a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we die to a Bloodbraid Elf off top. Well, they could have had something like Scavenging Ooze too, though, which would have been like disastrous at that point. Ha 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 ha. Do you have a Kolaghan's Command? We were dead to Kolaghan's Command there, etc. So, wowzers. What a grindy, grindy affair. Like I was saying earlier, I think we're the better Kroxa deck, but I still think they have so many more bombs to draw to. And one of the reasons why Dark Confidant actually fell out of favor was the fact that it just dies to Wrenn and 6. Yeah, I'd already used Lurrus. Lurrus was gone. Sure, put a good luck. I won. So not only are we facing a Lurrus mirror, I have a hand that could be anything. The old triple bobble, do I keep this 4-card hand? Welcome everyone for hanging out this morning. We're playing some Lurrus Jund. It's an interesting deck from Dylan Hovey. Alright, looks like we're up against Devoted Druid combo, most likely. This is another deck that did well over the weekend. Devoted Druid combo. Bunch of red cards. Can't cast any of them. We're doing great. Suppose I could have cracked one of these on my turn on the off chance we draw like our 1 copy of Fatal Push. They're drawing a Windswept Heath, sure. Get another view of a card in their deck, even though I know it's not going to. Okay, Finale. Yeah, looks like they're the list that did well over the weekend. Alright, nice. So I should probably try to pull that list up. TGO deck lists. I'm trying to remember what event that did well in. I want to say it was the Modern Super Qualifier that did well in. Yeah, everyone bitching about that, and Humans won the Super Qualifier along with Bant Control with no thing. Followed by Eldrazi-tron. I guess the mill deck did have some new. That's some interesting tech from the mill deck. Anywho, I'm looking for. This is likely similar to the deck we're up against. Nothing out of the ordinary other than they have Lurrus and Postmortem Lunge. So they're a little bit more graveyard centric. I still think I'm supposed to get a Tarmogoyf online here. Like, I could play out some hate cards, but, like, I have a strong feeling they're sitting on a Coco hand. So. Or they could be sitting on Eldamari's Call. Yeah, it looks like they're sitting on Eldamari's Call, sure. They're going to have the combo rolled up, which is annoying. Lead on Inquisition. Alright, they fetched away the finale devastation. That's why we didn't know what was going on. Guess we just play the seal now. No reason to slow roll this. I think it was definitely important to get the Tarmo boy in play here. Lurrus plus Devoted Druid again. Definitely want to draw another land, don't we? I'm going to attack with the Goyf, see if they block with Lurrus. I think I'm fine with that exchange. Buys them another turn. Sure, I'll take the exchange. So our opponent has Vizier and one unknown in hand. Hopefully it's not Collected Company. How many Devoted Druids can you draw? Answer: all of them. So before we begin dissecting our opponent, I think I'm going to start by Thoughtseizing them. Yeah, take Finale away. Don't particularly care about Vizier. Start by trophying the bird. Leaves us the option to bolt the Devoted Druid if they decide not to block, or they're just dead. Alright, lightning bolt for the win. So probably want spell bomb. Probably want engineered explosives. What do they have on the sideboard? They have rest in peace, path to exile, Veil of the Summer. So I think I have to bring in Pulse. Much as Pulse isn't great. Just ditch the Thoughtseizes, leave in the Inquisitions. Maybe shave and unearth, because any removal they have will be exile based. Could bring in Collective Brutalities, just have all kill spells on hand. Like, how many kill spells are too many kill spells? Gotta leave some number of trophies in for Rest in Peace, because our deck can't function with a Rest in Peace in play, pretty much. Like, the one fatal flaw of this build is, like, Rest in Peace is almost a KO against us. Still feel like I should bring in the Collective Brutalities, but I don't know what I would cut, so... Bring, like, 2 Brutalities over, like, a K command. Try it like that. It's possible I'm not supposed to bring in the spell bombs, just... I have to mulligan this hand. There's no early interaction. We could easily die to like a turn 2 unanswered Devoted Druid. I think put back the Pulse in this hand for now. Because like we want the discard spell, we want the early pressure, and we want the answer to an early quick Lurrus. Especially since we're likely not going to have an answer to this Birds of Paradise. This is actually dangerous, huh? So Veil of Summer is probably the take here because it's the most annoying card. We're going to get Rest in Peace, which is fine. We can find an answer to that down the line. And it shuts off Lurrus from both decks, which I think favors us a little bit for right now. Because we can shut off Rest in Peace when we think. So I think the take is Rest in Peace. And then kind of hope we can kill this Hex Drinker before it gets out of range. I honestly hope they play Rest in Peace here. Like, I want them to actively play Rest in Peace. But I think they're just going to go Hex Drinker and Giver of Runes, and we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Engineering explosives would be an absurd tear here. Yeah. Well, the problem I had is I was staring down the barrel of a Veil of Summer, so I really didn't have a choice but to play or take the Veil of Summer. Because literally then the only removal in our deck that works at that point is... and like I said, yeah, Rest in Peace is worse for me, but I have... Yeah. I need to find Engineered Explosives is what I need to find, because they're going to pump this up to level 3. Yep. And between that and the Giver of Runes, there's not a whole lot in our deck that can kill it. So the 1 or 2 of Hex Drinker is going to get us this game. So I think I had to play to my outs, and my outs are Kolaghan's Command, the Giver of Runes, discard whatever their card in hand is, take my beating from Hex Drinker, I don't like the... I think level 3 to 7 is protection from instance. Level 8 plus is whatever. I think protection from everything. Well, we're dead to Hex Drinker in 2 turns. We have to draw, and we have to Kolaghan's Command this, take whatever their card out of hand is, and then hope we rip Engineered Explosives. Alternatively, I could Spell Bomb, try to hit an extra card, and that gives us 2 looks, 3 looks, not 2 looks at an Engineered Explosives, which is literally our only outs. So I think I'm actually supposed to do that. If that's the case, I was supposed to play Tarmogoyf here. Alright. Yeah, I was supposed to play the Goyf this turn if that was the line I was going to take. Giver of Runes, yeah, I suppose it's relevant here, because that leaves us Maelstrom Pulse isn't out now. But then I still think I'm pretty well dead on board. Should have Kolaghan's commanded them when I had a chance. Too many mistakes this game. Too many mistakes. Waffled on too many lines. Yep, we hit the pulse. That would have answered the thing, but now we're just dead to... Well, pulse wouldn't have been an out at that point because we're at 5, and if they rip anything with the... Well, the Giver of Runes is still in play, so we're dead. Because I chose to go for the Engineered Explosive line rather than playing the pulses and out, So that's what happens. You got play to a line, stick to it. I waffled too much. Didn't play Goyf. Goyf should have been in play. Could have Kolaghan's commanded there. I think I'm actually supposed to bring in Crater Maker because it gets around Veil of Summer. This hand seems good. Painful, but good. I'm supposed to take Veil out of this hand. This is going to delay us getting the Tarmogoyf down, but I think I'm fine going Inquisition into Bolt this turn. Once again, don't particularly care about Eldamari's Call or Vizier, so I think I take Finale. Like Eldamari's Call, sure they can go get a problematic creature, either Devoted Druid or whatever, set up for the combo, that's fine. Which, that takes one of their turns right now. I get to play a Tarmogoyf and start going on the offensive a little bit. Well, thanks. I appreciate that, Dreadbore. Yep, now they're going to Eldamari's Call. Ironically, there's no lands in the graveyard yet. That's always a weird one. I want to draw a land next turn for Goblin Crater Maker. Like, we'll trophy this if we have to, but we really don't want to be giving them lands for Lurrus to bring back things. So their hand currently is Horizon Canopy, Vizier, Lurrus, and one unknown. So I'm going to put a stop during their upkeep because... Okay, never mind. Now I'm just going to trophy it now. Didn't want them to have Veil of Summer up in case they had another one. Now they get to Lurrus plus whatchamacallit, which is annoying. Oh, they just have another devoted druid. Okay. Alright, so now we actually have a decision to make here. So another hand is Vizier. They have Devoted Druid. They have one Unknown. They have a Horizon Canopy. So I can't kill anything this turn. So I need to draw a land to do that. And if I Inquisition their Vizier away anyway, they just get to go Lurrus, cast Vizier. Alternatively, if they hit another land drop and don't do anything here, then we're potentially staring down the barrel of a mini Progenitus. So Inquisitioning I don't think it accomplishes much here, so I'm just supposed to play the turn and go off and kind of cross my fingers that we don't die. It's like Crater Maker costs 3 to activate, Kolagon's Command costs 3. So they might just have the combo rolled up here. So yeah, we're just dead to Lurrus into or Vizier into Lurrus into Hex Drinker, make it ridiculously large. Mm-hmm. And I think this is why so many black-green players hate Lurrus, is because this gives these decks that would normally be a really good matchup for black-green X another tool to grind through all the stuff. So we're not just dead to large Hex Drinker. That's why I'm not conceding quite yet. If they have Finale of Devastation or Walking Ballista, we're dead. Eldamari's Call would also do it. Depends on what their last card in hand is. Like, they could crack the Canopy, get another look. Otherwise, just pump everything into Hex Drinker. Looks like they're just... So I think the only line that could have been done differently this match was the kind of hesitation line on whether I should go for Crack Spell Bomb, try to draw Engineer Explosives last game, play Goyf, or play Kolagon's Command, hope to rip Maelstrom Pulse. Because it would give us Pulse and Engineer Explosives as the out. And so I think that waffling on that line definitely cost us. So okay, so what is the best way to approach this right now? I think it's Kolgun's Command, the Lurrus, make them discard the last card in their hand, and then kind of go from there. Can I fetch Shock here? Puts me at 13. Don't think I need a Shock here. Do that. Do that. Start by doing this. Last card in hand was a Voice of Resurgence. Couldn't they have played that last turn? If they had that untap that they tapped for no good reason, feels like they could have played that Voice. I mean, we're still staring down the barrel of them having 2 draws and 6/6 unbeatable, pretty much. Voice of Resurgence makes things more difficult, but once again, if we never draw Engineer Explosives, none of the rest of the game matters. Interesting lists. Dreadbore, Space Marine, whatever you prefer to be called there. Those of you here on Twitch, Dreadbore, it goes by, I suppose, more than Lunge, Exile it. It's possible I was supposed to take that hit, but then that puts us into 2 crunches from the Hex Drinker. And their voice, sure. Which means I think they're going to start getting frisky with their Hex Drinker now. I'm legitimately dumbfounded here. For those of you wondering why I'm not popping it right away, Postmortem Lunge is a card. I guess Postmortem Lunge doesn't particularly matter in this spot. So, by the way, we have absolutely no business winning this game. Finale of Devastation for 1, sure. Okay. It's possible I should be attacking with one of our Goyfs here. That one's annoying. Land drop, please. Kill this one just because it's the most annoying. Doing this, hoping to hit a land drop and to kind of negate. Let's pass the turn. Actually, I suppose I could... Is it good to attack with one Goyf here? Nah, not yet. Not until I can set up Engineered Explosives for 0. Need to get that Hex Drinker out of there.
So we've been alive for an hour and a half, and we're only on 2 matches. Those of you that like grindy matchups, well, companions definitely lead to that. Thinking 6, I'm fine with that. If they have Path to Exile here, we're in a lot of trouble. Alright. Gonna start getting frisky with at least one of the glyphs here. I'm curious to see what this is. Walking Ballista would be annoying. Okay. Still a lot of cards we're in trouble too, but sure. Start by casting Inquisition. Naughty, naughty.
Sure. What an insane game. Well, we all know I'm an adoptive Jund player. I'm not a hardcore Jund player, so, you know. Don't think leaving Vizier in play does anything in particular against us, so I'm just gonna... Actually, it does. It leaves them... No, because if they post-mortem lunge to bring back a devoted, or try to bring back a devoted druid, the bombs got them covered. That was a heck of a match. Why not? Well, third Goyf closes the out of them having, like, a creature to chump block for a turn. Well, if you hadn't noticed, it does take me probably several matches to adapt to a different style of deck. And as much Jund as this deck is, it is a different style of deck than traditional Jund. Like, if you go back and watch my early Jund videos, like, I think the first league I went 0-3 into a 2-3. Like, it often takes me, like, 2 or 3 matches to, like, get the feel of a deck. So... Oh, I knew the deck was good if Dylan Hovey's putting up like 80% results over like 25 matches. I wasn't like disputing the power of the deck. I was simply... I noted some of its weaknesses. So, hopefully the next match will not last 45 minutes. I did have other things I wanted to get done before getting ready for work this morning, but that may not happen, depending on how quick this matchup is. Wait for our opponent. Hey, another Lurrus matchup. Alright, well... Well, 80% being a relative term. Like, you can get hot over 20 matches and having... I don't think I want to draw a Black Clue Cliff, so I think I'm just going to fetch a Overgrown Tomb and Casting Position here. Hardened Scales. So what's this one? This is a hand missing. It looks like it's missing lands. So I think I take the Ancient Stirrings. Would have taken Hangerback Walker, but... The Ozolith, that's a heck of a draw on turn 1. Didn't I scry away? Yep. I swear Magic Online is just like, nope, you're getting that land regardless. Why would you get rid of Hangerback Walker? That's like your best card in this matchup. Of course they ripped the land. I know this is only discarding a card, but I think I'm fine with that. Just going to bolt this right away. They'll get a counter from the Ozolith. Croc says, you have combat. If Ozolith is countered, may remove all counters onto a target creature. So their hand is currently Abrupt Decay Ballista. Just because either which way I intend on using my mana next turn, so may as well force them to so if they want to hold on to Abrupt Decay, they have to discard Walking Ballista. I think I'm okay with that. Thought about getting a reds or a shock land there, but I think we want to leave the baubles in our graveyard for right now. They're still holding on to Abrupt Decay. What are they going to wait for? End of turn here? It's time to start the Lurrus value train. Alright, pass turn. I don't know. I didn't play enough. I don't think I've ever played Hardened Scales. Or if I did, I certainly didn't play against Black Green X all that much. And I wasn't on Jund when Hardened Scales was a big thing in the format. So drawing another land. Like, do I make that trade? You know what would be great is if we could, like, draw one of our 4 copies of Kolagun's Command. You know, you're only playing 4 main deck Shatters and you see none of them. It's just like, okay. They're going to play Lurrus for no value. Interesting. I think we start by cracking Peatland here, looking for a removal spell for Lurrus. Of course we don't find one. Thoughtseize is pretty useless. Yeah, now we're getting close to being in danger of being gunned down by, Does that work how I think it does? Okay, so if our opponent wanted to go for it, we're dead here. At least I think. Maybe another turn of setup. Get back Hanger Back Walker, sack a bunch of artifacts. Sack artifact, Sark Ravager, all the counters go on here. Put the counters on Inkmoth Nexus. So 5 counters plus 5 counters. I'm pretty sure that's lethal. That's just stupid. That's almost like a doubling of Hardened Scales counters. Yeah, like if our opponent doesn't respect Fatal Push here, we're just dead. How's everyone doing this morning? Hope you're having a good time playing last match with Lurrus Jund, but as our previous first 2 matches have gone, they've each lasted like, I don't know, 45 minutes or an hour. So this format's grindy. Looks like they might be going for it. Yep. Looks like at this point they're going for it, not respecting Fatal Push whatsoever. Sack here, do the thing.
I guess this kind of splits the difference. Yeah, I think they're going for it. Like, I understand the difficulty of pulling the trigger. So, problem is I already have both my basics in play here. So they have no card in hand. Play out a bauble. I did not mean to do that. Oh well. I don't think it matters anyway. Let's just move on. We don't have any removal right now. I meant to recur one of the things from the graveyard, but at that point it doesn't particularly matter. Crater Maker seems good. Engineering Explosives seem good. Pillages seem decent. They're not great. Pulse might be a little bit clunky here. Thought Seizes can probably go. Even the Inquisitions. Take out one Croxa in case they have like a cage or something. I feel like I want the third Spell Bomb, but how much hate is too much hate for Lurrus? Go like that. Obviously, they're probably bringing in any type of grindy cards, Veil of Summer, etc., etc. So, their archetype isn't currently established in Modern, so it's kind of hard to say what they're all running. Yeah, I think I like Inquisition into Confidant into Pillage. Seems like a pretty decent curve. Ballista, Ravager, Ravager, Stirrings. I think I have to let them have the Stirrings and take Ballista, simply because our hand is entirely dependent on Dark Confidant right now. Hey everybody, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me this morning. It's been kind of a longer stream than I expected, but not complaining on that in the least. If you like what you're seeing, please consider giving us a follow here on Twitch and checking out our YouTube channel where we have quite a bit of Jund and Burn content over there. So, Dark Confidant. I wasn't playing to the out of a second Dark Confidant, but I think it was still correct for our particular hand to take Walking Ballista. Welding Jar is going to be a bit of a beating. Winding Constrictor. So Ravager is going to come in with 2 counters on it. I'm just supposed to play another Dark Confidant, go for broke. Like, Pillage doesn't really accomplish much. Like, setting them back, their key spot is 2 lands. Sure. I think if you're them there, you go ahead and attack in with Winding Constrictor. So, like, I can Explosives on 2 and crack it. But then they get to save Ravager, potentially. I think I'm just supposed to... I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here. There's a number of lines I can take. I can pillage something and EE on 1 for Ozolith. I can try to pillage Welding Jar or whatever. Alternatively, I can play Croxa and set Engineer Explosives on 2. Gets a card out of their hand and sets us up to kill their things on a following turn. So Pillage is the least efficient play this turn. Croxa is the Croxa plus Engineer Explosives on 2. And that's what I'm going to do. Guess Swamp here. Play Croxa. Make them reduce their choices they have by a little bit. Because then next turn we can pillage either the welding jar or the ozolith. Probably the welding jar. And then during their upkeep, crack the engineer explosives. Still leaves us in some trouble to their Lurrus. But I think us drawing 3 cards a turn, next turn, combined with the ability to unearth and bring back Dark Confidant the following turn, or even Lurrus bring back Dark Confidant, I think might give us the better longer games, so conserving our life total, I think, is better. Interesting. That Ozla is going to be extremely annoying. What are they doing? Is a card worth 2 life here? Yep, their Ozlith gets much stuff on it. What is the best line here? We have Lurrus plus bring back something. We have Croxa plus unearth. We have... Problem is that lifelink on that Lurrus is going to get out of hand real quick. Could Cycle hope to hit... what, one of the 2 Assassins trophies? or our Fatal Push. um... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I could have Lurrus plus Engineered Explosives for 3. Chumped with Lurrus. Blow up their Lurrus. They get something back. Counters go to the Ozlith. That might have been the correct line. I think at this point I'm just going to scoop. I'm too fried from grinding 3 matches in 2 hours. So, do apologize, that last one was a little bit of a want, but I think, yeah. So, I think the thought process is still the same, even with better results. I think you want at least one more Fatal Push in your 60. I think you want either some number of Death Shadows or Hex Drinkers as threats in addition to your Confidant, Tarmogoyf, Kroxa base, just to alleviate some of the graveyard vulnerabilities you currently have. I think 4 Kolaghan's Command's entirely too many, even though we couldn't draw one in the matchup we really needed them in. Hardened Scales is certainly looking like it's going to be a thing. It's the second time we've run into it in 8 matches. Yeah, deck is solid. Lurrus adds a different element, different deck building dynamic. People are whining it's degenerate. I don't really know that it's degenerate. It gives a lot of the linear decks like Devoted Druid and Burn a little bit of grounding power. I think it gives Jund a split in how it could be built between regular and Lurrus Jund. And I think a lot of the other companions are a lot of interesting stuff going on. So, deck is a blast. It's considerably different than the lines you get from regular Jund. My brain got a little fried there at the end. Otherwise, we probably could have made more of a match of that Hardened Scales match. But, yeah, deck was a blast to play. Pretty solid. Try checking it out yourself if you can. This has been John for MTG Nexus, both here and on YouTube's later. I hope everybody has a great day.